Shut up and sit down.
One go. Bink. There you go. I got in just as he took a breath. It's like, yes, there you go, folks. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening and welcome. David Frost mode.
He's in my head. I heard that voice in my head when you said that.
Hello, good evening and welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to a Friday Frolic with me, Festas 67's workshop. And him, the GNU. Yes, folks. First things first, if you'd like to help keep the channel alive, the usual blurbage as you can see, you can support it in patreon.com/Festas67's workshop, or click the join button below, or the $sign for a super chat, which shuts him up. Yes. Also, there's loads of blurbage at the beginning of the chat there on how you can save money using all the affiliation links, etc. for your tabletop gaming stuff. I obviously get a kickback for that. You still pay a discount, and I just get a referral bonus. Also, there's a link there to me Scalmate, so you can pop along and have a looky-loo what I've got in me stash. Request to be a mate, and I'll accept you. All of that. Talking of the chat, let's have a look who we got in the groovy gang tonight. There's myself saying hello. There's Marcus saying hi, Cole, Fox and chat. Hello, Marcus. How you doing, geese? Some bloke called Guru saying giddly evening, purple. Yeah, all of that lot. Marcus says his worm is concerned. Thank you very much. Bill's watching from the sofa. Hello, Bill. How you doing, mate?
Hey, Bill. Hey, Marcus.
Marcus saying hello back to Bill. Jeff Light is in, says hi, Colin Fox and all in Chatland. Hello, Jeff. How you doing, geez? Love to you. Big hugs for Maggie. Lord PJ of Lewis is in, saying good morning, Colin Fox and the spider under Fox's bench and everyone in the chat. Hello, PJ. How you doing?
Hey, PJ.
Jeff says, be right back. Liquid refreshment is required. Gives me a chance to say what's in the belly, what's on the bench, what is your beverage of choice, balloon, bacteria, and all of that. PJ say good morning to Maggie and that bloke you live with. Oh, yeah, Jeff Light. He says, hey, to Marcus, fancy seeing you again. And Marcus says, very fancy indeed. Oh, there you go.
Fancy pants.
So that's the chat done. Next up, obviously, James is in, saying Mouldy, Colin Fox and chatting Fest Drugs and Fox Hugs. Hello, James. So how's you and how's my mum?
I'm fine, thank you. Mama Wolf is fine and dandy and fast asleep.
Yes, well, I've windswept an interest in his mum. And
Friday night is early night for Mama Wolf. Shuffle her off to bed so we can do our Friday show.
Yeah, and she puts up all the resistance, doesn't she? It's like, Mum, bed. Gone.
Yeah, bed. She's already in bed. It's like, yes, but I'm fine. Fine. I was hoping to be doing something else tonight. As you'll have noticed, I'm still doing my death horses, my death core horses.
Yes.
Because I realised that if I'd got something else and started something else, I'd still have all these half built and the box on the side there. So it's like, no, I'll have two loads of boxes. So I'll just finish. I'll finish these. Get these done before I start something new. That's why I'm still doing this. Because it's like we both were hoping to get a load of stuff done this week and we didn't. So.
I don't know. I didn't do too bad. I got a shed load of filming done. So
I mean, on this specific build. I mean, I know you worked hard all week. You did.
Yeah, you know, so I'm quite pleased with it. So yeah. Don't sell me short, mate. I filmed 20 odd artwork videos,
we
mate.
were both hoping to catch up on these specific builds to be doing something else.
Oh yeah, I did a bit Saturday. Last week on it, a little bit of catching up, but yeah, I wanted to get it finished, but
yes.
You know, at the end of the day, it's
Anyway, how are you?
I'm fine and dandy-o, mate.
Good man.
Yeah, fine and dandy-o, suave, windswept and interesting and all of that.
Aye.
But yeah, just playing a bit of catch up on this. Like I say, it'll get done, and once it's done, I can move on to something else. But yeah, I was hoping to have it finished, but it's one of them. It's only another week.
Other stuff though, haven't you? So.
Oh yeah, I've been playing catch up and editing KA.Models videos and stuff like that. Trying to get my 1.8 terabytes of backlog video voiced over.
Yeah, that's a not insignificant amount of backlog there, isn't it?
Yeah.
You and your terabytes.
but it's handy to have because if something goes Pete Tong, I know I've got a schedule of footage there to last. Yeah.
Yep. It can be scheduled to roll out.
Exactly.
If you need to take a pause.
You know, I mean, an example of that is my GT500 Big Mustang. I've put videos up there on the schedule for the second week of September.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm quite a bit ahead. So
yeah, you've planned well.
You know, so that's where it comes in handy for me, because then if I do end up having a scenario where I can't get down to film or anything, I don't stress over content because I've got a shed load that I can just activate and send live. So
you can do that from a tablet, can't you, elsewhere?
Pretty much, yeah. So that's what I'm up to every night. I'm sitting here with a cup of tea voicing over a video, so... Hence why I'm not doing too much new buildy straight away, because when I'm not doing the lives, I'm doing voiceovers and catching up on that stuff. So, yeah. What about you?
Me, no. I mean, I've always done the. I kind of film it and post it. I don't know. I've just always done that, so I've never really got like a stash of videos to put up. It's literally whatever I've just filming is edited and then put up. So
yeah, well, you haven't got my situation, have you? That's why. So.
No, exactly. If I was clever and had half a brain, I'd do like you and actually build a stash up of video, because then I could then have fallow periods. But no, that's not how my brain works, unfortunately. So I must get back into filming. I really must get back to that. I've got so many things I was in the middle of painting and stuff and filming.
Yeah.
Now that Mama Wolf's a bit more reliable and settled, I think I can crack on with it.
Yeah, catch up and do a bit more now. So
yeah.
Trouble is you get into that rut and you just you go into can't be arsed mode.
Yeah, CBA is it's a big consideration at the minute.
You know, and it's like and then I then start nagging him and say, "Oh, you get out of get your head out your backside."
Yep. It usually works eventually. It gets to the point where he's just literally just verbally beating me up, and it's like, yeah, I get it. I'm doing it now.
Yeah, it's like, he knows I mean well, but
I depend on him doing it, because if he didn't,
the thing about it is, he says I'm stubborn. That's what makes me laugh.
Oh yeah, you are stubborn. No, I need the push. I need the push sometimes.
Yeah. It's
very easy for me to. There'll be times when I can't do anything, but then once that time has passed, I'll be very easily stuck in that lull of not doing anything. And I find it very attractive sometimes.
Oh, sometimes he's like record Usain Bolt speed with a reason why he can't do something. And then I just subtly say, stop looking for excuses, get off your backside and just go and do it. It's not an excuse, it's this. I said, no, you're relying on it now. It's your crutch. It's your go-to reason as to why you're not doing anything, and you need to stop it, shape up, and get on with it.
He's always telling me off for my crutch. That doesn't sound good.
And then he gets my mantra. I know I always say to him, despite my situation, I at least try to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And it just sometimes it just gives you that little guilt trip, doesn't it? It's like
which I need, because it's like I so easily get stuck in either a slough of despond or just a lull of not doing anything. Because the thing with me is for a creative person, I'm very reluctantly creative. It's very strange.
I did say to him once, I said, right, where's Mum? She's in bed, blah, blah, blah. She said, exactly, because what are we doing? We're playing Xbox. I said, so tomorrow night, instead of spending an hour on the Xbox with me, you could actually film something. And he's like, I go, stop clutching, stop looking for them straws.
Oh, my Xbox.
And it's like, I hate you. I go, yeah, I know, but you'll love me for it.
I don't like you anymore.
But,
yeah, I can be like a teenager sometimes.
It's funny, but again, I get it. I get why, because, it's real life. We all have it. But every now and then I have to be tough love. It's the operative word.
But it's good to have a mate that does that, because a lot of times, people wouldn't bother. They'd be like, yeah, whatever.
It used to throw you at first, didn't it? Because you'd be like, oh, dude, that's brutal. And I go, yeah, I know. But you'll thank it for me when you get a super chat in a live stream. Oh, I know. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
No. I always appreciate it. I might be grumpy at first, but it's like I always understand at the end that it's comes from a place of love.
I used to like you. Yeah, I know you did.
Go tell your mum. Go tell Auntie Winnie. I have to do the same sometimes, but not anywhere near as often with Festa. Because at the end of the day, Festa's quite adept at motivating the shit out of himself and actually getting stuff done, whereas I'm useless.
Yeah, I am lucky as well, where I'll have H kick me backside as well, you know, because
there is that.
But I have that. There's going to be a time where I can't do it, and I will kick myself for wasting what good time I had, you know.
Yeah.
That's my stimulus. That and the fact that I know if I do, which is not the case, but if ever I did wallow in self-pity, one, I wouldn't get away with it. And yeah, it would be a case of, just get on with it and get something constructive done, because...
Yeah. I don't have anybody like that. I don't have anybody to do that for me. Apart from Festa when he kicks me up the bum for not doing stuff.
Yeah, I must admit, I ain't subtle when I do it, you know.
Oh, God, no. Subtle like a brick. Did it C33?
At first, you used to be slightly offended, didn't you?
I'd be like I was being told off, and I'd go into like kid being told off by parent mode.
Yeah, and then he would be like, I get what you meant now, because...
Yeah, no, I'm just like, good point, for well made.
You know,
Fair
but
point, well made.
Early in our friendship, you was... when you first got angry Festa, you was like,
don't like you.
I ain't a child. Stop acting like one. And everything he said to resist, he just got a contradictory put down back, and it's like, I hate you. I said, well, tomorrow when you're filming... You'll be thanking me, because you'll get views on your channel, you'll get feedback on your channel, and, you'll be thanking me for it. I got this message. Cheers, dude. Yeah, I know.
We all dance the dance.
But, it was one of them, and like I say, he's there for me and I'm there for him. We kick each other's backsides when it's needed.
And on the other side of the coin, we both are mercilessly mocking of each other, which is the other side of the coin.
Oh, yeah.
So there's that advantage that we then get to just be mercilessly mocking of each other, which, of course, is the correct thing to do. Which one's this one? Right. I'm getting bits ready for 2 dudes. Be proud of me. I can't promise I'll finish them.
Well, he was getting him to try and choose an E-Models build today, and it was, I've been through this, nothing's floating me boat. I went into the menus, 2 minutes later sent him a picture, and he was like, I was thinking of that one. And he ordered it, and it's like, really?
Yeah.
Took me 2 minutes, but sometimes you just need that confirmation, don't you, Rov?
Yeah, well, it's funny because it's like, we've said on the Monday show that we're, I've not finished Lord Croak, but, it's like we said before, you do something on a live stream and it takes it over weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
And you start to lose the shine for it. So I want to just get that finished and filmed separately.
Absolutely.
And so people have got something new to look at. I'll start something else. But I could not pick anything.
Yeah.
103.
Teeks is in the chat. Hello, Teeks. How you doing? Connor is in, saying hello. Hello, Connor. How you doing? Space Rangers is in, saying hello to PJ.
Hello,
PJ's belly is King Prawn Vindaloo with garlic nan. Bench 48 GWH MiG 29C Fulcrum. It's the Ghost of Kiev. Beverage Ashay Super Dry Japanese beer. Happy days.
Good beer.
Everyone said hello to Space Rangers. Connor says thanks to Jeff. Marcus saying hi to Space. That is James. Andy Preston is in, saying hello. Hello, Andy. How you doing, geez? Jeff Light says the Cole versus Fox banter is absolutely awesome. We are like 2 miserable old tarts. We really are. There was one comment we got ages ago, which was, why do you two stream each other with each other when you're always arguing? It's like, that ain't arguing, that's banter. There's a difference.
That's a big difference.
We just enjoy kicking each other's backsides because people kind of enjoy it. Bill says a good hard festering is all rotten. Fox needs.
Wait.
Enough said.
Stop now.
That conjures up all kinds of wrong imagery.
Yeah.
But no, it's one of them that's just, that's what mates can do. We've all got that one mate, haven't we, that we can stand there and rip into. But we know that they've got our back if we need it, and that's rare these days.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point. A good friend can kick you up the butt and get you motivated, and you don't take it personally.
I have said to him before, it's no good telling Mum that I've been picking on you either, because she'll only say that's what you need. Oh, it's like, yeah. How did you know that's what I was going to do? Because, yeah.
God, I read you like a book.
It's funny.
Oh, darn, I've used the wrong arm at the wrong time in the wrong place. Oh, dear.
Oh, dear.
Luckily, it's just a spear arm, so nobody cares. Oh, well.
Right.
Apparently used it twice as well, which is not clever.
So we've got a bit of that going on there, have you?
A bit of that. How have I done that? These sprues are so confusing. I shouldn't have cut them up, really, should I?
You've been special, aren't you?
Well, I cut them into I cut them down because it was like double spruce. So I cut them in half so they were easy to manage, but then it gets very confusing. So I've used that spear when I shouldn't have. Okay. Good to know. Doesn't matter. Don't care. I'll put a different one on. Right. So, in that case, who have I given that one to? I must have given him a 50, which means I can use that on this one. Yes, good. Logical deductions.
Powers of logical deduction, did you say?
I have made a decision in my brain.
God, you go careful.
I know. It was slightly hurting.
Yeah, so thanks everyone for the feedback from Monday's e-models. Nice that people appreciated us being back.
Yep.
So, so that was fun. Got the first one out the way, which is always good, isn't it, to get the first one in the can.
Get back in the saddle. 34 and 97. Getting faster at finding the bits.
Oh, you go careful.
Typical Games Workshop sprue. There's part 103, but there is also part 103, and of course, part 103.
Hey, mate, be grateful that you've got part numbers on it.
Yeah, and this one here that was here could be part 50 or 102, or it could be 103, or it could be 62. It's very confusing. There's another 103 just for good measure, two of them everywhere. Which is unfortunate because it tells me that the spear is actually part number 103.
Yeah.
But it's not. Part 103 is like these swords that there's like 8 of. So I really don't know which spear that was supposed to be. I've just chosen a spear at random.
Was it Brittany? Oh, come on. It's all I had.
I think you did it again, didn't you?
I did.
Was that a Britney song? Did I just make a Britney joke and get it right?
I'm embarrassed to say yes.
I'm very proud that I got it right, but also not very proud that I got it right.
Yeah, I would be sitting there wondering why I got it right, to be quite honest.
Yeah, but you're in just as much trouble as me because you confirmed it.
Oh, yeah, you can throw me under the bus for that. I don't mind.
So it's not C34, it's C103, which is a... What? Oh, hang on.
Yeah, that is right.
Excellent. I thought I'd used the wrong spear because it said use part 103 in the instructions.
Yeah.
There's the proof, see, part 103. And next to it is C34, the sword. However, the little swords are part 103. And I thought the spear that was here, I've used it incorrectly, but I haven't. Apparently the spear is C34, which is there. So I hadn't used the wrong spear. Its instructions were just bass-ackward. It was the usual Games Workshop putting the wrong number in the instructions. They like doing that. I feel vindicated now.
Yeah, we've survived the stompers. We know this, folks.
Yeah. If you build Games Workshop, expect at least once to have an incorrect part number to play with. I think I shall give this man a shooty gun. Shooty gun. C36, which is probably B98, but let's find out.
It's under there.
C36. So, what's everyone been up to this week anyway? I've not been up to much at all.
No change there then.
Yep, no, I'm just doing mum stuff and shopping things and other bits and bobs. Not really doing much. Bit of Xbox time, but not a lot.
Not so bad.
And I think we've now almost adopted 3 different cats.
Oh, right, yeah.
There's little tiny cats that appear in our garden.
Yeah.
They've got to the point where you say hello and they don't run away, and one of them actually walks up to me now. So it's only a matter of time before they start coming in the back door and, sitting on mum's bed and things like that. Yeah, that'll happen. But other than that, not a lot's been going on.
No.
C36. I've got to find this from 36. There it is. Ooh, I'm doing good tonight. I might have found all the bits by the first half hour.
Oh, you go careful. Getting worried now.
I know. I might have built one dude by the end of the show. It's possible. C98 and C103.
Now I know you're exaggerating.
Yeah, I know. I know it sounds really stupid, but I like the fact that if you guys waving a gun around, you have to use the open holster for the side of the horse.
Oh, yeah.
Nice little touch. Right, so that's all his bits, and that's all his bits. Right, the gentlemen all have their bits. Oh, he hasn't got
Yeah, they
bits.
are quite well thought out, aren't they, the Krieg builds?
Yeah. It's like, if he's waving a gun, give him an empty holster. If he's not doing it, give him the holster with the gun in it. Perfect sense. But then they get the numbers wrong in the book, and it's like, all that goodwill, just...
Yeah, gone.
Right, I think that's all the bits I need. Now, can I get all these cleaned and prepped and ready?
I'm hoping so.
Yeah, I am. Because I like making dudes. There's one dude.
Because you do realise if you don't, I will mock you.
Yeah. Well,
And
the thing
so
is,
will the chat.
if I do, you'll mock me, and if I don't, you'll mock me. So I just take it as inevitable.
Oh, Wibblekins. Oh.
PJ says, I'm confused, Fox. Which is part 103 again? Part C29 is part 103, apparently. Now, don't forget, folks, if I'm getting on your nerves, I'm talking too much, you can shut me up by doing a simple super chat and just saying the super chat, shut up, Fox, or words to that effect. Keep it clean. Every pound is a minute of silence from me. If you do £1,000, I'll just log off. I'll just log off and go home.
You are, own dear.
Okay, I'll just go and make a brew then and watch Sally for a bit.
There you go. Right, we got there. That is not particularly fun, that little section, but we got there.
Was it fiddliness? Or just poor fittingness? Or
No, a bit of both, but it got there in the end.
it did what it needed to do.
Yeah, it's just a matter of letting the framework all dry then before I put the pipe work in situ, because, yeah.
Tubes and pipes.
I need to get the microscope out to see where it goes, because even with my magnifiers on, my old man vision is. Right. So that's that done. We've got them done. Happy
Don't
with
forget
that.
the old man vision.
I've got the old man.
Don't forget the old.
That goes in the fuel tank. We can start getting a bit of wheelage done now.
If you ever get round to playing Stalker one day, you'll never be able to take that guy seriously.
I have played Stalker. You keep saying if I get round to
No,
playing
even if you get to that part, if you get that far into Stalker,
Yeah.
you'll never. I know you've played it because you
Yeah.
whooped that bloodsucker's butt big time. Most impressive.
Yeah, there is that. I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you was most impressed. Oh, bless you. Marcus has put in an €11.99 super chat
Call it 12 minutes.
to shut the fox up.
Oh, shut the fox up. I like that.
So you do realise now, so you got to put up with my name drivel, so there is that.
Yeah. To my advantage, it means I get some work done. So
yeah, so yeah, he can get some building done. This is the trouble. He complains that he hasn't built much, but he don't stop flapping his lip. So that's why he don't get nothing done. Whereas I get a whole kit built because I can just get on with it. This is just how it is. So anyway, let's get some wheels done whilst that's drying. What else was I thinking? Couldn't have been that important because I've forgotten. But yeah, we'll get these wheels done. This will get built again, like the others, to the stage of being ready for its base primer coats and all of that lot. And then that'll go in the Chernobyl box with all the other trucks. And I'll come round to painting that at a later date. This isn't actually going on the Chernobyl scene, this one, because it's actually a US truck. This is going to be the one that's going to be found by a dystopian wanderer in the post-apocalyptic wonderlands, and he's converted it into his abode, should we say. So that's where that direction that one is going. So keep an eye out for that when it gets painted. The other two will be done in the Chernobyl scene where, you know, you'll have the 6-wheel truck, the fire engine and a load of detritus going on and all of that. So that's the story they'll end up telling. Not quite sure after that. I might... I think we had this conversation last week. I think I might get the Tiger tank to the stage where that's fully ready for primer, and then I can get down one of my other Ryefield tanks, probably the Jag Panther, and get that started. I can't do the Chieftain tank because that's going to be a buddy build with Marcus. That is for the Berlin camo Chieftain build that we're going to do. So we'll be flitting that between... I don't know how you feel about this, Marcus. I'll ask you anyway. We can flit that between the two channels where we can do it 1 week on yours, 1 week on mine or something like that. Perhaps on the Wednesday show or something. Or another stream where I could just pop in a bit of a buddy build, or we can do it in the Hangout. Whichever works for us, innit? It is one of them. Probably be good to do it in an Hangout because I can imagine the swears you would have masking off the Berlin camo, mate. So, yeah, give it a bit of thought, see what you think. But I can't do that one yet. But I've got the big old 35th Jag Panther, and I've also got the Panzer Aust as well from Ryefield. So there's a couple there that we can get sorted. So that's what we'll do. So happy days. 21 and 23, so we'll have that. We're doing double wheels on this, so let's have a bit of that on there. Pop. And a 21, which is that one there. Easy peasy, wasn't it? Bosh. And a 26, which is the hub with H. Have you a bit of that? What's that one got? We've got a couple of them to do. Okay. We'll do them in a minute. Let's just sling that over there. AJ says, so what you're saying, Cole, is Fox can't multitask. He can talk and model at the same time, right? Yeah, he can't, mate. No, he's useless at that, mate, because if you notice when he's chatting, he sits there chatting. It's like a little mannequin. And, yeah. Marcus says, yeah, can't wait to do that. Yeah, I know. Not looking forward to the camera. Yeah, we'll do it in Hangouts, Marcus. That way there's no pressure, mate. And we can sit there and take our time with it, etc. And I shall be releasing mine as a video anyway at some point. So we'll do it that way, mate. But yeah, masking the camo is going to be fun, mate. But I'm lucky. I've done a few Berlin camo paint schemes now. So we can get you through that stage, mate. Yeah, it'd be fun to do. And it's a Chieftain tank. What more could you say? They are the sexiest bit of tankage. So, yeah. Massive big gun. You can't beat a massive big gun, to be quite honest with you. There you go, put a bit of that in there. And yeah, we've both got our E-Models builds ordered. Mine's arrived already. Happy days. So big thanks to James at E-Models for expediting that. See what I did there? Big word. So yeah, we got them ready to sort out. So we'll be looking at scheduling the alternate Monday stream. We'll be doing once a month with the regular E-Models gang, and then an alternate Monday we'll be doing our what used to be Wednesday at the bench. So we're moving all the E-Models content to a Monday. Just makes it easier, so we know if it's a stream on a Monday, it's going to be for those guys. And yeah, so it'll get there. We're slowly but surely getting back into a routine. There you go. Knew it would fit at some point. Persuasion fit, but it went. So yeah, that'll be a laugh. That'll be something different we can get on and do. The big tank I've been asked about, I shall be going to video a lot of that because I'm currently editing all the live streams of the big tank into video, and where it's getting quite bulky on the bench, trying to get it on shot on a live stream, it's easier to film it at a distance, and then I can zoom in into certain sections that I'm doing. So I'm going to film the rest of that just to make it easier for me. So don't hate on me too much for doing it that way, but at the end of the day, it is the right choice, I think. We got that and that. One or two, 102s. Two of them. Okay. Right, so that has the ring on it and that one don't. Okay, we're getting there. Right, let's get the next one off. Let's do the other side. We've got two of them done then. A 21 and a 23. But yeah, it'd been good to get back to doing a bit more frequent content because, yeah, we've missed it at the end of the day. And like I say, we've been doing the frolics now for a couple of months, and it's getting back into its routine. We dropped Monday's E-Models in, which was good to get back to, so it stopped me getting stressed over that because we hadn't done an E-Model show for a while, and yeah. So we'll do a couple of more of those, and then we'll drop in on one of our Mondays then and see how we both get on with it. Just a matter of scheduling our real life stuff around it at the moment. So things are beginning to settle down a bit again. So, and I haven't done what I normally do. I haven't rushed straight back 5 days a week. It's like giving it a little bit more thought this time. Pardon me. Right, I want another one of those. Jeff says, Big Bone 6 roll, happy days. Connor says, what are your thoughts on how the F1 regs for 26 look, Festa? Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, yeah, I get the whole looking eco-friendly and all of that lot, but having seen what Vettel did with Mansell's old Williams when he run that on biofuel, a V10, it would have been nice just to have the V10s running on biofuel and have fuel and having all the eco battery stuff over in Formula E. That's just me. Perhaps it's because I'm a bit of an old nostalgia freak, but I do miss the V10s, and I'm hoping that they've not dropped a ball by doing it that way. But yeah, the regs need looking at. I don't think the ground effect has worked for everyone, and I think that if moving away from that slightly helps grow the wider competition, because at the moment it's like everything in Formula One. You always get teams that dominate for a regulations cycle, and it gets on everyone's wick, I know, but look through the history of it, it's always been like that. But if moving the regs to a more generic format helps all the other teams grow, then yeah, it'll work. But I'm not a fan of the drivers having to back off on a straight to conserve tyres and regenerate battery power, because to me, that isn't motor racing. That's someone having to drive along in cruise mode because they don't want their battery to go flat. And for me, that's not what Formula One is about. It's foot to the floor, pedal to the metal. Let's get our elbows out and race and leave the battery technology to Formula E. That's just my opinion. Probably upset a few people, me having that opinion, but I've been asked a question and that's my honest thoughts. Anyone else? I know PJ's a Formula One nut. But, yeah, it's one of them. It irks me when I hear that they're having to conserve battery power instead of race. Don't get it. So, anyone else got any thoughts? Connor, you asked a question about the F1 regs, mate. What do you think? Yeah, Teak says ban DRS, refueling again, no hybrids, go race. Exactly. You know, the hybrid. Yes, I know cars on the road are going down the hybrid route, but look, these are Formula One racing cars. You're not going out shopping or doing the school run in one. It's motor racing. It's the pinnacle of technology and motor racing. Go out and race. Like I say, electric car, then that's what Formula E's for. The E is for electric. So let's move it into there and get the V10s out. Run them all on biofuels, because pretty much, you know, I've got classic cars, you know, you can run it on LPG or biofuel. Gives the car a new lease of life. But they had a thing on the last race in Miami, and you had people discussing the new regulations, and Christian Horner came out with a valid point. You know, he said the fans don't want to see or hear that the driver is having to release the throttle to try to conserve battery power on the fastest straights in motor racing. He said they want to see the drivers race each other, get their elbows out and compete. And I agree with that.
See, I'm not into motorsport, but even I agree.
Absolutely.
I think it's occurred too early. The technology's not there yet for racing. It's there for, like you say, going shopping.
Yes.
But the technology's not there yet for at some point they'll be able to just charge it up, belt round the track for the length of the race, and that'll be it. But battery technology is not there yet. PJ
says, just when Fox thought he could talk again, oh, look, more to shut the Fox up, coins tinkle on off the floor on front. So thank you very much for your kindness, PJ. Muchly appreciated. And yeah, look, can you hear the walking away music?
I can't do it because it'll be illegal, but that's what I found out.
Yeah, that's just my opinion. I think a lot of people agree. Jeff Light says Maggie is with you, Cole, regarding F1. It's like TJ Teak says, ban DRS, bringing refueling. Refueling with biofuels in the pit lane, I'm all for. I think refueling, yes, all right. There were a couple of famous incidents, Jos Verstappen springs to mind. But I think, refueling with the biofuels in pit lane would help. I think that what they need to do as well, this is one that I've not heard muted, but, make it compulsory where they have to do X amount of pit stops. The tyres will only last 15 laps. You've got to come in and change them. And I know we have tyre changes now, but that's because of having to use multiple compounds. But let's just make it compulsory. You've got to use each compound during the race, soft, medium and hard, whatever order you want to. You have a five lap pit window between tyre changes, and that's it. Shake it up a bit. Just a thought. Might work, it might not. But if it don't work, fine, throw the idea out, try something else. It's not exciting enough, I don't think. It's got to the stage now where I think Saturday qualifying is determining the result of Sunday's race, because it's a procession. You might as well tie a bit of string around each car and have them tow each other around. I do get frustrated, H does, because we're avid MotoGP fans. And, you know, she gets frustrated with it, and so do I. It's like, really? I'm only one person at the end of the day. What does my opinion matter? But right, we want 4 of those ones, so that's a 24 and a 23 times 4. Okay, we can do that. Yeah, definitely something needs to change. It really does, because, you know, I sat watching free practice 1 and 2 yesterday, or today, earlier today, Friday, whatever day we are now. And all right, I'm sitting there and I'm like, right, yeah, it's good. McLaren have got their rockers back, so to speak, and it's good to see them doing well. But again, people are going to start tuning out because you pretty much know the result. It's the same when Max used to always win, when Lewis used to always win, Sebastian won. There's always been dominant cars. But yeah, the regulations need to really radically be looked at. The FIA at the moment seem to be spending too much time on the Ovaltini rules. You know, everyone's got to look like a 1950s schoolboy and be a monotone mannequin who doesn't swear. Forget all of that bullshit. Focus on the rules and regulations and focus on getting bums back on seats. I still think we should have PJ as the FIM president. That would be good. It's got my vote. Okay, what number was that? That was that. Oh, well, yeah, it can have one of them and have you a bit of that. We've got big rule changes coming up in the motorcycling, and, you know, I think it's good to have a shake-up on the regulations. You know, the motorbikes are going back to 850cc because they're doing nearly 300 clicks on the race circuits. And when a biker goes down, he's through the gravel and into the air fence. Now, you know, that's dangerous. The bikes have outgrown the circuits with all the aeros, so they're reducing the capacity of the engines to try to prevent that and stop a fatality. All well and good. And then MotoGP is going to go down the biofuels route, not the battery route, because they're like, keep the existing engines, just run them on sustainable fuel. Job done. They're not going to lose anything. You know, we've got Moto E, which is the electric bikes, and as a bike purist, hearing an electric bike go round a racetrack isn't great. It really isn't. Sounds like the Jetsons car. It's like, what the hell? Right, we got all of those. We got all of those. So there's 4 of them. Okay. We've got 2, we've got that. Okay, so how comes we've got... That's odd. I'll look at that in a minute. Right, we have got 22 and 23 there. Why have we got a 22 and a 23? That's a duplicate of that, I do believe. Let's have a quick flickety through. Yeah, that's right. So that's where that went, Pete. Okay, we can have a look at that in a moment. Have you that one? Get that in place. What's going on in the chat? Yeah, Connor says hybrid has had its day. F1 should be about the future, like with e-fuels. The WRC won biofuels and hybrid. They've now dumped the hybrid as it wasn't working on their production cars. Exactly, mate. Yeah, Teak says he's been a fan of F1 for 40 odd years. In my opinion, stop the artificial tension. Exactly, mate. They're trying to make it dramatic when it really isn't. And it's like, yeah. You know, I don't want to get excited about pit wall strategy. I want to get excited about two drivers getting their elbows out, like Senna and Mansell did. And, you know, Prost and Senna, all of those wonderful eras of driving through the years. I want to see that. I'm not interested in some Oxbridge University student going, I think, having looked at my data, now would be a good time to change onto that tyre. That's really not interested in any of that. I know it's all part of it, etc., etc. But bums on seats aren't interested in clipboards, are they? Let's be honest. So yeah, I'm going to be interested to see what happens, put it that way. Which probably means my opinion ain't going to matter anyway. It don't. Or why I'm just, you know, I'm just a Festa. Right, so two of them, that's the front wheels. We'll have them. Let's get them on there, Cole. Yeah, so that'll work. We'll have a bit of that on there. PJ says, yeah, I agree with you on F1's. Lights to flag racing, too many driver aids, and I'm absolutely sick of hearing about tyres this and tyres that. Exactly, mate. Connor says, yeah, that's what the new Netflix fans want, though. PJ says, not a fan of compulsory pit stops. Fuel for the race, X tyres, and do what they do best. Jeff says, oh, Michael, absolutely. Back in the day with Schumacher. It's a long way from the NAV8s and Slicks Bridgestone that got me interested in it, says Connor. MotoGP's going in the right direction. I've been a Ducati fan all my life, but even I can see the big issues now. Yes. PJ says he doesn't like the F1 drivers have got to conserve tyres and fuel. We already have that kind of racing. It's called Enduro, Le Mans, etc. Exactly. And Jeff's like me, you can't beat the sound of a motorbike screaming down the straight. It is. It's like porn, isn't it? It's just there. It's exhilarating. And, you know, I think F1 really does need to look at the next decade of development because it's going to make or break the sport, I think. Because the younger generation are instant. They need instant stimulation and gratification because that's just how things are now. And if you want them to watch 78 laps of cars going around in circles, obediently following each other, using their DRS and saving by de-throttling on higher fast straights, they're going to look at that and go, yeah, that's boring. So, yeah, interesting. And yeah, you know, the MotoGP, I love it because, especially if it's, I don't know whether any of you do this, but me and my missus do. When it's a double weekend where you've got MotoGP and F1 running, we sit and watch all the MotoGP, the commentary, the build-up, everything that goes with it. And then you sit and watch the F1. And then, like you say, you do the races. You watch the MotoGP race. I'm sitting there on my chair getting my knee down. Formula One comes and, you know, within 10 minutes you're picking your phone up and you're surfing the internet because you've lost interest in the TV race. MotoGP, you don't do that. It's bums on seats, edge of your seat, all the way from start to finish. And to me, that's the biggest example I can use for it. So we'll see what happens. But I think, you know, those of us that are Gen X have been through a really massive generational thing with F1 over the years, and we've seen all the best drivers come and go. So we can speak from that experience of having seen all of that, and that's why we miss it. We miss that excitement. We miss that vibe, and hopefully they bring that back somehow. But at the moment, can't see it happening. Right, we want a number 25, so we'll have a bit of that. And is that the one? Yeah, and that's a 20, so we'll have that. One of them off of there. Is it? Yeah, it's next year, and it? Because we're 25 now, so yeah, it is next year, the new regs. But again, this season, I'm noticing with F1, they've got one eye on next year's car, which obviously they need to because of all the power unit regs changing and all of that. But you know, we've still got a season to run, and are we going to get to the end of this summer with this triple header, and then it's going to be an orderly, proficient procession now until the end of the season, because they're all focusing on next year, and I think that'll be a rather boring season. So I hope I'm wrong.
I have no opinion on such matters.
Yeah,
I know
but
nothing of motorsports, but like I said before, I tend to agree. It's exciting.
Exactly. You know, you're asked a question, you answer it, don't you? You know what I mean? It's
needs to be exciting and biting edge of the seat nails, not just like
yeah. You know, whereas when I was a younger fella seeing a lot of the F1 races, I was bum on the edge of the seat because the racing was so intense. You know, you look at Mansell and Senna going around the streets of Monaco where Mansell was trying to get past him, you know, and you had Mansell with his super flappy paddle gearbox, Ayrton with his manual gearbox, and you saw racecraft from both of them, you know, and, you know, Michael Schumacher in his dominating years was such a key strategist behind the wheel, you know, and you'd see some real good tactical play from the guy, you know, and he was a genius.
I don't know, I don't watch motorsport, but is the current generation of drivers, given all the things they have to think about with tyres and batteries and everything else, is there not that kind of talent anymore? Are they just middle managers rather than race drivers? I will go for an analogy here. They're like Stepford wives, mate.
F1 wants the drivers to be super nice, super polite, because it's an advertiser's dream. They want them to be these little oval teenies that all, you know, old school tie, blazer wearing little children with straw boater hats on.
Oh, yeah.
They seem to want to gel them into this little automaton, and I think that drivers' personalities aren't allowed to come through. Any driver that shows that doesn't seem to be favoured by the FIA.
Do you think the technology takes away or reduces the need for actual skill?
Of course it does. I mean,
compared
all right.
to legends like, you know, James Hunt. And
don't get me wrong, you know, you've still got to have a bit of noggin to know what all these buttons on the steering wheel do. But throw half these drivers in an old F1 car with clutches, no buttons on the steering wheel, and a manual gearbox.
They'd be knackered.
Around the streets of Monaco or Baku. Yeah, I somehow think that they would struggle with that. But it would be exhilarating to see those drivers that could cope with that.
It'd be exhilarating to see these people just mercilessly thrown into one of the most difficult racetracks in the most difficult to control cars.
Exactly, because
if you survive, you're good.
I think the true artistry of a driver or car, it's man and machine in harmony, isn't it? And MotoGP went through a stage where, you know, and they have gone through, this is why they're changing all their regulations. They went through the electronics revolution. And the electronics started taking over, over the rider's own ability.
Yeah.
A MotoGP have looked at it and gone, yeah, we've gone down the aerodynamic route with T-trays all over the bikes. They don't look great. Let's restrict the amount of T-trays that are on the bikes. Let's have a look at electronics and rider aids and see whether we can police it back. Yeah. So that it's not the electronics winning the race, it's the rider's skill.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. And it's going to take a couple of more rule changes and regulation changes to go back a bit. But I think it's the right choice.
Yeah. Makes sense. Because
as a rider, you need to feel under your backside what the motorcycle's doing. This is why I stopped riding, because I lost that ability. And these modern bikes, you know, a lot of the riders, Marquez, ex-riders like Stoner, are all saying that the rider aids now have taken over to the point that the rider has lost that sensation between his bum and the bike as to when the bike is about to let go. And that's why the crashes are becoming so dangerous.
I suppose as well, you need to feel like you're barely in control of a bucking stallion rather than just managing an engine management system.
Yeah. Teak says, yeah, if F1's going to adapt to the goldfish generation, there will only be dress races, yes. PJ's like me, bring back V10, V12, pure adrenaline-induced racing and sound, older sound. I can remember, PJ, the year when the, how can I say, the marital aid engines came into play. The year before was V10s and V12s going around Silverstone. And then you got the electronic marital aid engines appeared. That was it. I was like, that's me done. And I've never been to a live F1 race since.
The true test that they're catering for the sort of less patient generation is if they start showing the races in portrait mode, then you know it's time to bail.
Yeah. It's just, I think, a missed opportunity. And I hope that someone somewhere has the insight. I mean, when Vettel bought out Mansell's World Championship Williams and drove it round Silverstone, a V10 running on biofuels, and the crowd went mental because it was the sound, like you say, PJ, it was that sound, that real screaming sound of that engine. And the fans were in awe, and that's when people go, well, if Sebastian Vettel can do it on his own privately owned car, why don't F1 look at this? Because how much are they spending on battery development, you know? And this is the thing with lithium batteries. They still end up having an end-of-life usage. How are you going to get rid of them all? You know, they're notoriously expensive to recycle, and there's very little that they recycle anyway. Whereas, you know, develop the V10s, the V12s. You know the technology. Go with it.
Plus, they're very explodey as well.
Oh, yeah, there is that. I know I'm nostalgic and I'm a bit of an old fart and all of that lot, but I think the younger generation would relate to it. I mean, my boys watch a lot of the older races and they're like, well, why can't the cars sound like that now?
It's no different. You being all nostalgic for the past of motorsports is no different to me being nostalgic for the past of electronica and thinking that modern electronica is just wallpaper and drivel, and classic old stuff is much vastly superior. Even though it's simpler and less complex, it's just nicer and better, and you know, it's the same thing.
Teeks is saying Oscar as champ. Yeah, I can see it happening, mate. I think he is. Oscar's one of those people that come round every now in motor racing where he is so laid back you think he's asleep behind the wheel. He doesn't give much away. A lot of people say he's cold and calculating. I think that's a good thing in a racing driver, because
you kind of want to be calculating and cold and emotional.
Yeah, but he's just unflappable. Obviously, there's probably times when he does throw his teddies out and have a strop. but you certainly don't see it on camera. He seems to be very metronomic like that, and I think that's where having Mark Webber as his manager has helped him, because he's got that aloofness about him. I can see him winning the World Championship, yes. I think it would be good for him. Yeah, I think it would be good for him. I think it would be good for his home nation, to be honest.
You want them to be like calculating and aloof, because they're basically fighter pilots with land planes. So
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what they've got to be, isn't it? It's, you know. Would be interesting to see. Lando's a unique little character. He wears his art on his sleeve. He's a rare racing driver, really, because everyone, I say everyone, a lot of people criticise him for being so open about his struggles, should we say, with some of the pressures of motor racing. And they go, oh, he's giving his drivers ammo and showing weakness. But if he's asked a question, he gives his honest answer. And to me, that's a breath of fresh air. But some people see his openness about his mental health and stuff as a weakness. I don't think it's a weakness. I think that's helping a lot of other people that struggle with things. So,
and don't forget, he let Han keep the Millennium Falcon. So
yeah, not even going to warrant that with a response.
I have nothing else to contribute to this conversation.
No, you're that person. If you can't contribute to a conversation, you try to kill it.
No, I can't kill it, but I can make little jokes.
It's one of them. Every driver's got a unique attribute. I admire Lando for that openness, because I'm like that myself. But there are drivers that would see that as weakness. But then again, why not? It's a personality at the end of the day. People are talking about it, so he must be doing something right.
At the end of the day, you could just say for the other drivers, it's not their business anyway.
Which pretty much is what he does, to be quite honest with you. You know, if people don't like it, don't listen to it. But if a journalist puts a microphone under my nose and asks me, what's your thoughts on how your performance was today? I'm going to give him an open and honest answer. And he does say it. He'll go, today, there was nothing wrong with the car. It was me. I was just not good enough. I had a bad day at the office. What is wrong with that?
Yeah.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
No.
You know, I drove like a complete and utter tit wobble. Fair play to you, mate.
I got in the car and I pressed the spong button and all the way through the race.
And I really do admire that, you know, because you hear other drivers and it's like, oh, it's the wrong kind of tarmac, or the mechanic didn't tighten my wheel nut properly, or I couldn't see nothing because a bird flew in front of me. And it's like, stop looking for BS excuses and say you drove like a mong. That's all you got to do. Yeah. They don't do that. You know, it's, yeah. One of them.
It would be so good if a Formula One driver just said, yeah, I drove like a mong, mate, all the way around.
Oh yeah, and I don't mean that in a disparaging way to any particular thing. It's just, you know, a terminology. You drove like a complete and utter tool, basically.
Yeah, that'd be great.
You know, that's how we mean it, just in case anyone gets up in arms over the phrase. Because we do live in a woke world, don't we? So, but, yeah. I like Lando. He's a great driver, you know. He's got to be, you know. There's the way you've got to look at it is there's 20 people in the world that are driving these cars, so they've all got to be great, haven't they, at what they do? Because you know, I'm not driving them cars. Fox isn't. None of us are. So they've got to know what they're doing.
Yeah, they wouldn't get the job if they didn't.
You know, they wouldn't get the job if they drove like Miss Daisy, would they? So there is that. But again, you know, every sport has its greats its most successful drivers. It's, you know, there's always going to be that genius and maverick factor, isn't there, in sport? And some drivers have just got that skill naturally. You've only got to look at Max, you know. Now, there's races where he drives me absolutely mad, because some of his turn one incidents over the years have been near the mark, let's be honest. You know, I look back at Ayrton with some of these manoeuvres and remember Nelson Piquet referring to him as the Sao Paulo taxi driver, because, you know, he notoriously wouldn't deliberately try to run people off, but if there was a gap, he went for it. And Max does the same. But every race he does it, and he knows the rule book. He knows he can push a driver off if he keeps a wheel on the white line. He tests the edges of the rule book and succeeds. Drivers complain about it, but at the end of the day, play him at his own game. Do it to him then. What irks me, though, and this is what really pees me off, is I know team principals are supposed to defend their drivers and all of that lot, but say, for instance, George Russell did that to Max Verstappen. You'd have Christian Horner bleating like a schoolgirl. It's so unfair. But Max does it week in, week out. And he goes, yeah, but, you know, Max is a great racer. Even though it's blatantly obvious that he's breached every rule book rule imaginable, he'll still stand there, red in the face, trying to convince everyone that his driver's right. And there's a line. I think sometimes the team principal should go, yeah, I'm talking BS here. I need to just hold my hands up. And because people would relate to him better, wouldn't they? You know, there was times when Lewis breached the rules and drove like a bit of a peach, you know what I mean? And, you know, he would hold his hands up, yeah, my bad. But sometimes I question Max purely and simply because I think he's got so much talent that he doesn't need to do that, you know?
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be, at risk of sounding bad, he doesn't need to drive dirty. Now, that can sound pretty aggressive, me saying that. I don't mean it.
He doesn't need to drive like a douche to train.
Yeah, he doesn't need to drive like that. He's got the skill not to do it. Michael used to do it now and then. He did it with Damon Hill. He tried it with Jacques Villeneuve. And, you know, they wised up to some of his tactics and got the better of him. Michael didn't need to do that. Ayrton didn't need to do it. He would push the rules with some of his manoeuvres. And you're like, you don't need to be doing that. You've got such a high level of talent. Why are you lowering yourself to that level? And as a fan, I find that really frustrating to see. But anyway, I'm having a wibble now, and that's...
I know, it's been quite good fun. Big long wibble from you, that.
No, it's just... when you're passionate about something, and you see the sport being undone by silly directions that the sport's going in, it just is frustrating. Because it ain't cheap to go to, Fox, you know. If you want a full-blown hospitality weekend with all the trimmings, you're talking thousands and thousands of pounds.
Oh yeah, my friend Nikki, she was a Formula One. She went to the races and stuff. Yeah, that wasn't cheap.
You know, Helen and her sister, it was their annual pilgrimage, Silverstone, with, you know, the Vauxhall books, you know, down by the BRDC end of Silverstone. You know, and it would be tea and canapes, you know, and they was treated like royalty for the weekend, and they loved it. But, you know, they was spending a good couple of grand on it. And they got to the point, like we've had this discussion tonight regarding the racing, where they're like, we're paying all of this money. We're not feeling entertained by the actual motor racing. We're only getting entertained because of the hospitality.
Yeah.
What are we paying for?
Yeah, you pay the same money and go to a nice spa for the weekend.
Exactly. So that's what they do now. Instead of doing that, they just watch it on the big tellies, and they go and, like you say, they go and have a weekend away somewhere, you know. And
weekend of pampering or something.
Exactly. And they feel they're getting more value for their coin, and that's a shame when you know that they're two diehard, passionate fans that are falling out of love with it. It's sad because, yeah, for me, it let me have a weekend home alone and I could press the buttons on the cooker. You know, so there is a selfish method to my madness.
The thing is, it makes sense. It perfectly makes sense because at the end of the day, when you've got a passion about something, you know, you develop these passions usually when you're a kid or when you're a young person. You know, so you develop these passions, and like anything, nothing exists in a vacuum, and stuff will change, especially with motorsport where things are changing anyway. But whatever your passion is, whether it's motorsport or anything else, doesn't matter. The thing you're passionate about will change, and the big challenge is, will you change with it, or will you always be unhappy because it's not what you grew up loving? And
absolutely,
motorsport's probably, because motorsport's like a chameleon and changes every 5 minutes. Like you've said, it's changing, and the people who grew up with it are now like, this isn't what I used to love. This
absolutely. You know, Max is one of those generational talents. You know, that's a word that gets thrown around quite a lot in racing, but he is. You cannot take it away from him. The guy, from the minute he entered the sport, you knew he was going to be one of the greats. It's just there for all to see. I think he needs a team change. I think he needs a fresh challenge. And it would be good to see how he would handle going into a different team environment and different car, etc., etc. I think he would take it on the chin and would be just as good no matter what he's driving, to be quite honest with you. Does he need to do it? No, he's a multi-millionaire, but it would be nice to see him, rather than take a sabbatical, because he is getting a bit disillusioned, do a team swap. Lewis has got the Ferrari, all right, it's not going out everyone thinks it should, but it's a long-term, it's a long-term project anyway.
Lewis knows all about team swaps.
Exactly.
Even I know that.
Yeah, I think Max, I'd like to see Max go to Aston Martin, to be quite honest with you. Adrian Newey's there. There are other people there that Max has worked with, and also Honda engines are going there. And it would be so cool to see what he could do with this Aston Martin project. I think it would really set the world alight. What's your opinions in chat on that? I know a lot of people would like to see him go to Mercedes, but I don't think Max's character would be allowed to shine at Mercedes. They are, like McLaren used to be under Ron Dennis, they're a little bit corporate and they stifle a driver's personality. Whereas Aston Martin, I think Max could go there, be Max, do his thing, and yeah. It's one of them. If Max went to Aston, I can see him breaking Michael's world record. 7 championships. I could see that being done by Max. I'd like to see it, to be quite honest with you, because, yeah, be an interesting one. But he is so talented. Like TK says, I agree. He does not need to do it. It's frustration, in his opinion. Yeah. It is. And Jeff sums it up. Senna used to, and he was one of the greats. Yeah, if Senna was having a bad day in the office with his McLaren, oh, the world knew it, because suddenly he drove with road rage. And it became apparent that that's what he was doing. And people resented him for that, you know, and that age-old question would be, you don't need to drive like that. You are so talented.
Yep.
You're lowering yourself. Why are you doing that? I'm frustrated. Well, yeah, but don't put people's lives at risk, mate.
You're frustrated, but you're also incredibly well paid.
Yeah.
So it's not like...
Yeah. And in his later career, as he aged, he did mellow out. You know, and he became a better person for it. I mean, for years, people didn't quite take to him. But once they saw that he was actually trying to change for the better, people warmed to him, and he become, well, even now, 30 years after his death, you know, he's one of the most loved and talked about Formula One drivers. So, certainly a good topic of conversation, folks, because it brings out a passion in everyone, doesn't it? Motor racing, keeps
me quiet.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, for me, you know, the motorcycling would always do it for me because I was motorcycle racing before I was F1. My uncle took me to the infamous Barry Sheen, Kenny Roberts race at Silverstone where Murray's like, oh, Barry's waving at Kenny. No, he's not. He's sticking his fingers up. And then, you know, I got to go to Formula One races during the James Hunt-Niki Lauda rivalry as a young lad. So one year it would be the motor race at Silverstone. Then the following year, we would do the 500cc's. It all depended. And back then, the F1 used to flip between Silverstone, Brands Hatch. You had the motorbike racing, then went up to Donington. So
Racing from Donington.
It was one of them, and I just stuck with it. And first and foremost, if I was offered tickets, I'd always take the MotoGP tickets. But I don't go to any racing now. The last race I did was Mugello in Italy, and I went out in style because, you know, I got to see Valentino go around his own race, and that was it for me because the travelling was too much now.
Yeah.
You know, and taking me to a weekend event like that wasn't fun for Helen. And
no.
Dare I say it, I feel safer watching it at home than I did at the venue. You know, Mugello was great, but I was on edge until I got back home.
Yeah.
Because I knew if something went wrong, I'm in a foreign country, in a foreign hospital.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah.
You went out with a bang, though.
Went out with a bang, you know, and that was it. And yeah, it's a new generation watching the sport now, and I hope they get out of it what I did for 30 years because, yeah.
It kind of, see, I say, again, I don't follow racing, so I don't know anything about it, but it sounds to me like Formula One has basically become the same kind of dross as ITV phone and celebrity nonsense. It's just become kind of packaged.
Oh, yeah, it's reality TV.
Yeah.
Would that be a good comparison in the chat? Formula One has become like a reality TV show?
Yeah, it sounds like it's just become standard ITV celebrity crap.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to take away from the fact that the drivers are putting their lives on the line to entertain us. I'm not trying to demean that in any way, shape or form. But the sport needs to radically have a rethink. I really do, because I don't want to, in the latter years of my life, see that sport diminish into a ghost of its former self, you know, and struggle to get 10 people to watch it, let alone thousands. That, to me, would be a crying shame.
Yeah. I finished a dude.
Oh, mate, I'm proud of you, soldier. Look at me, prattling and wibbling like an old maid, but...
I know. Keeps me quiet for a while, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Jeff Light says, if given the choice, Maggie would be Moto Weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. And my wife was, you know, never a massive motorcycle fan. But, you know, over the years, I wore her down into an avid MotoGP fan, you know, and she gets it now, you know. And
I can't really imagine a way in which, again, I'm not into sport of any kind, or motorsports. There's no interest to me at all whatsoever, but I can't imagine a way in which MotoGP wouldn't be exciting, because it's a bloke dangling on a wibbly-wobbly bike at 1,000 miles an hour, and at any minute he can fly off and be just mulched.
Yeah, I mean, the last race at Le Mans in France, you had Johan Zarco, a Frenchman, winning at Le Mans. You had multiple bike changes during the race because of wet weather. And honestly, it was a complete pucker-up job from the minute the flag went down to the minute the race ended. And I'm going to be open and honest here, and people might be surprised. I shed a tear when Johan Zarco won that race because he's such a lovely fella. And it was one of the most exhilarating races I've seen for a long time. I go back to Laguna Seca in 2007, the Stoner and Rossi epic. And, you know, that race sticks in my mind. But I think Le Mans was one of them races. I've watched it twice since. And I think every emotion that could be had as a spectator would be had on that race. And I think Jeff and Maggie, if they're watching, would agree this, that you could take any non-MotoGP fan, sit them in a chair and watch that race, and they would end up watching the next MotoGP race.
Yeah, I think if I was going to watch a motorsport, it would be MotoGP, just because it's thrilling, whereas motorsport is just a car going round and round. Yes, there's risks and there's dangers, but at the end of the day...
I reckon I could sit you in a chair, you would watch that race, and by the end of the race, you'd be getting your knee down. Oh,
yeah. I reckon I would.
Because it's everything.
Dangerous. It's crazy. The riders need... It's 100% about the skill of the rider, because you can't just get on a bike and ride it.
Yeah.
I know you can't just get in a Formula One car and drive it, but you know what I mean? You're not going to fall out of your Formula One car at any point.
No.
Because you accidentally let go of something. It's just like, so I can't imagine MotoGP not at any point. I can't imagine a boring MotoGP race.
No.
So I can see... And it's like, it's the same thing about motorbikes. I have no interest in motorbikes. And if I want to go somewhere, I want to be in a nice warm car with a comfy chair and a stereo and a cup holder. Thank you very much. But I can understand the passion for motorbikes. I understand why people love them, like, why you are so passionate about them. It's not for me. I'm far too lazy and comfort needing to do that. But So, MotoGP, I can see why people love that. Formula One, I have to always found it boring.
Yeah,
when I was a kid, it was exciting, but now it's just like, I'm like, well, whatever. May as well watch Scale X Trick.
But it is one of those. It's so exhilarating, and that I miss riding a bike more than I do driving a car.
Yep.
Because going round the windy road, especially here, I used to go down the Alton Road, and it was super, super tight and winding, knee down. Pucker up all the way there, but you'd get off the other end and it'd be like, that was exhilarating,
your leather would now be part of your body.
Yeah, and
sweating so much.
Yeah, not to be too crude, but it's sex on two wheels.
Yeah, it's like I'm not wearing a biking outfit anymore. I've now just got a body tattoo.
Because you've got a 1200 cc's of throbbing engine between your thighs, you and the main road, and off you go.
Fizz.
And it is one of those things that...
That's the thing.
Yeah, you can't explain to a non-rider. You really can't.
No.
Yeah.
But I can understand people's passions for it, whereas people that race around in cars and get excited by that... how about people that... I know a guy that did like... what was the formula? He did that kind of racing where you get like a wedge-shaped car with a big fin on the top. This is going back about 20 years. It's just like, it's not like, I don't know what it's called. It's like a...
Stock car racing.
It could be, yeah. And he used to love that.
Skinny little car with a big wing on the roof.
Yeah, and it's like, he used to love it. He did that. And it's like, I was like, it doesn't excite me because it's not... But I just thought it's just a car. But somebody on a motorbike, I can fully understand without feeling it, why it's so adored. Teak says, did Fox do the Dutch word? I don't know what that means. PJ says, if I'd known that talking about Formula One would have kept Fox quiet, I could have saved my super chat money for another time.
Yeah.
No, you should always do the super chat.
Good comparison, Connor. He says Jim Clark is like Senna in that sense. Absolutely. PJ says Max to Mercedes. Nope. Max and Toto don't like each other. Yeah, it's got to be Aston Martin. As like Jeff said, what a combination. I honestly think it would go down as one of the greatest combinations if it happens. I'd love to see it. Connor says he needs a mentor like how Oscar has Webber or how Max has his entourage. Yeah, I think Lando needs that. He needs a strong ex-driver to take him under his wing and really guide him. And yeah. Who would you choose to mentor Lando Norris? There's a question, folks. Who can you look back at and say that person would be a good mentor for Lando?
Can you imagine me trying motor racing?
Oh, yeah. I can imagine you pulling over on that one. Nope, they're all going too fast.
Where's the slow lane?
Yeah. I literally...
Yeah, when I go on the motorways, because I'm a very nervous driver. I always have been. I don't know why.
You drive like Miss Daisy, don't you?
I do. I always go in the slow lane, and I mean, partially it's because I'm a very nervous driver. I always have been. I don't apologise for it, but also for a lot of times I've been driven really shanky cars that probably wouldn't survive going in the middle or outside lane anyway.
You convince yourself that your cars won't make a journey.
Well, no, not all of them. I mean, some of them were obviously new cars. That's fine. I knew the Land Rover would.
Yeah,
that wouldn't survive a country road.
New cars can break down, dear.
I know. But yes, I'm a very nervous driver, so I don't enjoy motorways. I avoid them as much as possible. I don't know. I've always been very scaredy cat driver. I can drive to the shops no problem locally, but get me on a motorway and I'm just like, white knuckles, don't like it. Don't like it. Nope, don't want to do it.
Teak says, I really think we put Senna on a pedestal because we don't know how he would act if he won more. I think Senna possibly only had 2 more championships maximum. I think Michael was coming through. The next generation were coming through. I think Senna, at a push, if he was lucky, would have got 2 more titles, but I think it would have been a real challenge for him.
Was it Schumacher that was in a coma?
Yeah, Schumacher. Yeah, he had an injury skiing.
Is he still alive in a coma, or did he recover?
Yeah, no, he's still alive, but he's changed.
Yeah.
He says, Michael Lewis, Vettel, they all got to be around to become cocky to the max. Yeah, I think Senna had an arrogant side to his nature, but I think him and Gerhard Berger was his Marmite. He would bring Senna out of that arrogance by just gooning around with him and bring him back to his senses. But, you know, Michael was becoming dominant that season that we lost there, and I think Michael would have still won the title that year. Yeah, at a push, I think Senna might have got 2 more, but then I think he would have quit then anyway. I think he wanted to equal Fangio, if I remember rightly.
Do you want to know something interesting that demonstrates quite well about modern motorsport?
Go on. And then I can finish the chat then. Go on.
Oh, no, go on. You carry on. I thought you'd finished it. Go on.
No, Teak says, in my opinion, F1 should get back to what it was. Technology pushing sport and motor racing. But PJ says, if I'd known talking about F1 would keep Fox quiet, I could have saved my super chat money. That's right. I'll refund you, PJ, mate. He says, did Fox do the Dutch word?
I don't know what that is.
Says, we totally agree. I don't know. I'll scroll up in a minute. I just want to finish this bit. Where'd you get your MotoGP coverage from outside the broadcast Festa? It isn't as mainstream in the UK. Yeah, it's on a terrestrial channel, but I watch it all on TNT Sport on a streaming service on my Fire Stick. But I do think it's ITV4. I think has replays of MotoGP. But
I think so. Yeah.
The Dutch word is below Jeff Light's comment, about 4 up from the bottom. Fox.
Okay, there's another one higher up.
Connor Vettel says, seems a bit too recent to be a mentor. He'd probably be better suited in the FIA. Damon Hill might be a decent fit now he's out of punditry. That'd be a good shout, Damon Hill. Is Damon Hill too nice to get the worst out of Lando?
Damon Hill was a good guy, wasn't he?
I certainly don't think Mansell would be a good mentor because he had the world's biggest book on excuses. Vettel could do a coaching job, Orlando. Yeah, Vettel's been muted as Helmut Marko's replacement when he retires from Red Bull. That would be an interesting combo. Stephen Haynes is saying hello to myself on Fox. Hello, Stephen. How you doing? But yeah, a mentor for Lando would be good. I'm trying to think. Jensen is too nice.
I can't think of any. I mean, I'm going back to the old days now. I can't think of any bad boy racers. Drivers. Alain
Prost, Nelson Piquet. Are they too far back now, generational wise, away from the modern technology? Jean Lacey, there's another one. Could be a good mentor. Obviously, Felipe Massa. Rubens Barrichello. There you go. How about Rubens and Lando as a team, because he's got a funny side, but don't forget also Rubens was number 2 to Michael through his dominant years, so if anyone's got experience on how to dominate a dominant driver, it's going to be Rubino, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Madame Whip from London, but never mind, we don't talk about that.
Yeah. Anyway, you was about to say something. I've been prattling on far too long now.
I was just going to say, it's interesting to note that for me as a non-racing follower, that if you were to like blurt out a bunch of names, I would easily recognise every single racer from the 70s and 80s, probably a lot of them.
Yeah.
Even though I don't follow sport, but if you were to mention anybody past like 1989, I wouldn't know who they were.
No.
Because no.
It's going to get to that point, though. People are going to end up super chatting to shut me up, mate. So,
hey,
I'll let you do a bit of talking for a bit now.
But that's the funny thing. It's like, you know, I couldn't name a driver now at all. Anybody past the 80s from that, you know, Ayrton Senna,
yeah.
Can't get my words out now. Era.
Johnny Herbert, he's an ex-FIM, what are they called? Steward, but an ex-racing driver. He might do any. Brundle, take Lando under his wing. Martin Brundle. Yeah, no.
You have to assume that like retired racing drivers still keep their hand in and know what's going on.
Oh yeah, they've got their fingers. You know, a lot of them are managing other drivers. You know,
yeah, I was going to say a lot of them probably like consult with the designers as well.
They have their drivers that they mentor behind the scenes, but I certainly think Lando needs something.
Brundle, I like that name, Brundle.
Yeah, not massive, don't get me wrong, but I think he needs someone that he could just talk to. You know, where am I going wrong? And someone that's got the balls to turn around and say, right, you need to, you know, bin that idea, look at this, look at that, you know, and don't change Lando's personality. I think that's what makes Lando loved.
I know who it needs to be.
Go on.
You. You'll put him right with no worries. Just, right,
yeah, it's one of them,
you
know, I don't think he needs to change who he is, but I think he needs that one person that will go, yeah, let's not wrap you in cotton wool. You drove like a complete and utter tit today, and let's get you out of these bad habits.
Yeah.
And only a driver can do that, can't they? You know? A
bit like George Lucas, somebody needs to have the balls to stand up and say no. Otherwise you end up with another Jar Jar Binks.
Exactly. You know, yes. And
apparently I've got this word to pronounce for TK. If I can see it, let me put me... mini hip... I've got to read it first. Mini hip Jacques Apparat. Mini hip Jacques Apparat. Something apparatus. Mini something. Chip something that makes something small.
That has got to be a pretty high-ordered Scrabble word, isn't it?
Yeah, like mini chip. Is it an electronic, like a microchip thing? Is it chips as in food? No, it can't be chips as in food. Something apparatus. And the only reason I know apparatus is because it's a bit obvious, but also because of the thing you get on U-boats. Apparat. But that was absolutely butchered. Mini hip Zach Yezvenit. I can't do it anymore.
You do realise, Teeks, this will keep him entertained for the next 40 minutes, mate.
Yeah, I'll be getting it on Google just to get the right pronunciation to learn it phonetically.
Yeah, he'll be now buying the audio cassette, Teach Yourself Dutch.
Teach yourself nonsense languages. Number 1, Dutch.
I wouldn't have said Dutch
Welsh.
was a nonsense language because that's cruel to Dutch people, mate.
No, nonsense as in it's like it's impossible to pronounce if you don't speak it easily. Like Welsh.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Makes no sense.
Okay, so you've insulted the Welsh, you've insulted the Dutch. Is there anyone else you want to have a pop at, mate?
Well,
let's really get the hate started on my channel, mate. Oh, bless you. Don't ever change, dear. Don't ever change.
I think that'll be fine.
Just talking about the massive Dutch word, eh? Yeah, absolutely. Jackie Stewart is getting on a bit. He always seems to look out for Lando. He does. I mean, Jackie Stewart now is 84, but I think he's got a soft spot for Lando. And yeah. Yeah. Does Lando remind him of his teammate that sadly died? Is it Francois Sauvé or that sadly died? What stopped Jackie Stewart at 99 races? I can't pronounce the guy's surname, but I think PJ will know what I mean. But I think he sees that in Lando and it reminds him of that sadly lost driver that was Jackie's teammate. And Perhaps that's why he's got Lando's interests to heart, because he sees that in him.
Maybe.
I certainly could make that comparison, actually, because that would be a good comparison to Lando, so could be that. But yeah, Jackie's 84 now, bless him.
Wow.
But yeah.
He comes from the era when racing cars were literally just cars.
Yeah.
Not land-based aircraft.
Comes from that era where the drivers had the best mutton chop sideburns in the world.
Oh yeah, and them little peaked helmets.
Yeah, him and Emerson Fittipaldi had the best mutton chops, I imagine. Yeah, it's like, yeah. Proper Elvis Presleys they were.
I do love the image of the classic sort of 50s and 60s racing drivers with little helmets, because it's like, given the complete lack of any protection of any kind whatsoever in those cars, for the driver, it's like, is the helmet a bit pointless?
Yeah. I always remember Ronnie Peterson driving around Monaco with his peaked helmet in the six-wheeled P34 Tyrrell. Yeah. You know, sadly died in 78. We lost Ronnie Peterson. Yeah, sad, isn't it? I think them years of motorsport.
I've got the world of sport music in my head.
I've still got the smell and the roar of F1 engines going around in my head from the good old days. It's there. It's a bit like when I first started going to the 500 cc's. You had that waft of two-stroke and the high-pitched roar of the engines. You know, it's just there. You just remember it. You know? When they had a... They just before Marc Marquez left Repsol Honda, they had him in Japan for a big Honda event, and they fired up Mick Doohan's championship NSR for Mark to go out and ride. And it's quite a lengthy start-up procedure because you can't turn the engine over because it seizes between races. It just expands. So they have this lengthy process of preheating the block and all of that. Then they fire it up and run it for a good while before you can take it out on track. But just
That's
seeing
like
the sound and the smoke, and you have Marcus just stood there going, oh, I said that smell. Oh, I said, yeah. And seeing him ride Mick Doohan's two-stroke was just, yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Like going back to the old days of racing in the 30s and 40s when that you had to get with all the engines.
Two-stroke served its time. You know, it got to that point where, it outlived its usefulness, but people still pine for it. People still pine for the 990 era of MotoGP. But, you know, we've got 1,000cc engines. The riders are coming off. They're going underneath air fences at the edge of the track. And if it doesn't change, there's going to be another fatality. So what would you rather happen?
Yep.
Slow the bike engines down a bit to 850cc, knock a few bits of wingage off, and you're still going to be thoroughly entertained because they're still going to do nearly 250 mile an hour. So why not?
You know what really would revitalise it, though? Especially Formula One. Stick a battered old caravan on the back. That'll get Dickie Davies a buzz.
Yeah. Good old Tricky Dicky.
For those that don't know, in the UK in the 80s, one of the sports programmes on a Saturday regularly showed like banger racing from places like White City and Manchester and other places where you get, you know, it's like stock car racing, you get knackered on car.
Wimbledon racetrack.
Derby. But at one point they actually they had them with like the Demolition Derby car and a caravan on the back. And the entire purpose was just everything just to be destroyed, and it was so much fun.
Remember the hot rod racing where they went round the track and then round the gravel in the middle of the circuit?
Mm-hmm.
You had
motorsport. I could get
truck racing.
Yeah. If you get behind like Demolition Derby, that's fun to watch.
I used to love that.
It's just destruction, and that's the little kid that used to break up toy cars by smashing them together in me.
Demolition Derby down at Wimbledon racetrack. You'd have the dogs. When their season was over. You'd get the demolition derbies and all of that. So yeah, great fun.
Fond memories of playing Destruction Derby on Mum's PC in the 1990s.
Used to pay your £2.50 for the day to get in, and that was it. Banger racing and all of that all day long. Yeah.
Banger racing, then motocross bikes.
That was it. Francois Sever. Yeah. Weren't just teammates, they were very good friends too. Yeah, I think he sees... Do you think that's a good comparison, PJ? I think he sees a lot of Lando, or a lot of Francois' character in Lando. Jeff Light says, yeah, Carl, once heard, never forgotten. Absolutely. Teak says, what smell gets you back into something epic in childhood? Exactly.
You know what smell always takes me back to childhood? Is anything that smells like a children's paddling pool in the heat of summer in the garden. Anything that smells like that. You know, when the paddling pool's been out for a while, it's got bits of grass in it, and it's still warm, and it's been in the sun. It's that smell takes me back.
I think you make a valid point there about Lando being too nice. Martin Brundle said someone needs to teach Lando how to become selfish. And it's right in a way, because he's got to have that ruthless streak, hasn't he? And some drivers have that naturally. Other drivers, they haven't got that, have they? They don't want to be seen as being selfish. And
what's the phrase? Nice guys always finish last.
Nice guys don't win world championships either. You know, that sounds probably a cruel way of wording it, but I think you need a bit of a ruthless streak, don't you?
Well, at the end of the day, you're not doing sport because it's fun. You're doing it because you want to win.
Yeah.
So you have to be a bit ruthless. It's kind of understandable.
You know, Michael used to say, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win races.
Yeah. Oh, don't drop your knife.
Yeah, Max to Aston. I'd love to see that. I really would. Sadly, I think it's going to mean that Fernando Alonso has to retire, because I can't see Lawrence Stroll firing his own son. I really can't. So all the time he wants to go racing, Daddy's going to let him drive his car, isn't he? Sadly, it's going to mean Alonso has to retire, but I think Alonso would if he knew Max was going there. Oh, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
That makes it sound like sort of Dynasty or Dallas or something, but motor racing.
Yeah, well, it pretty much is, isn't it? You know, because
just without the shoulder pads.
Yeah, he's not going to fire his own son, is he? You know, it's just not going to happen, is it?
Unless it costs too much and to not do it.
Yeah, but Daddy's a multi-billionaire, mate. He can afford it.
That's true.
You know, so he loves his son and he's proud of his son, and good luck to him. But as a motorsport fan, you know, you sit there and you think, yeah. As a fellow Dutchman, Teeks, where would you like to see Max go?
Do you realise this is about the 5th or 6th week in a row that Teeks has been with us?
I know, it's lovely to see Teeks coming in on a regular basis, because we thoroughly enjoy your company, mate.
Yeah, we've missed you over the years, dude.
You know, and it's just nice to see you chilling.
Yeah. Obviously, you've had the little one, but she's at the age now where you can sneak away in the middle of the night and have a ruckus with us.
PJ says, like I said further up in the chat. Yeah, sorry, PJ, I didn't get round to scrolling up, mate, but he says he'll only become a great driver when he adopts a killer instinct, something he doesn't have at the moment. Yes, it's that old eye of the tiger thing, isn't it? Mm. You know, and I hope it happens for him, because I think I'd love to see Lando as a world champion, don't get me wrong. But I think it's a romantic notion, if that makes sense, because I'd love to see him do it, but at the moment, I can't see it. It's a weird one. You know, everyone wanted Jensen to win because we all loved Jensen, didn't we? And he was a nice bloke, and he finally won one. But would you have said that you could see Jensen as a 7-time world champion? No, because he was too nice. Even he says that.
Excuse me.
So yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, I think to be a sportsman, you need to be kind of, if you're a nice person, then you need to be nice in the real world, but ruthless on the field of battle, as it were. You can't afford not to be. Otherwise, you just Nakajima. You're just the second best all the time.
Yeah, it's.
I just made a racing reference.
I know.
That's only because when I was growing up and I occasionally did watch Formula One, Nakajima always crashed into the wall. I don't know why.
A bit like Heinz Harald Frentzen, doesn't it? You know, so.
Without fail, he always crashed into the wall. Maybe it was me. Right, I might actually finish another dude.
You go careful. I nearly fell over.
I'm not making a promise. I might not, but I've got all the bits cleaned up.
Yeah, you can't keep doing this to me because
I've basically gone into maximum peachy mode tonight and just battled through it.
I've now developed a PJ style twitch. You saying that?
Yeah, Fox being efficient, and I've filled the gap in the horse's intimate feminine areas.
You go careful.
I know.
What do we do with that? Got those done.
Actually,
Those done.
What animals these are? They're obviously not horses because they're not from Earth. And they've got claws.
Not putting them hoops on because they're becoming.
Horsey claws.
They're going to be converted into a ladder.
Ladder.
Right. Okay. Deep in thought, because I want to
match this piece towards this piece.
There for a canvas roof. I'm not putting a canvas roof on it. I've got to build my own roof.
No canvas. You're not giving it a canvas tilt.
No.
To make a canvas tilt look good, isn't it? Is it a plastic
it's
one,
just. No, it's just oops, mate. That's what I said. I'm not putting a canvas roof on.
Ah, right.
Oops. Why you're no rison? Tell you what I can do though, whilst I'm thinking of it, is that's not happening. So it's going to come out across there.
Oops. Wednesday, it's 7:30, and I'm having oops.
Oops. That'll come up like that. We go right over the bonnet.
I have no spaghetti hoops.
Damn it. Something like that.
Connor says, I've got to head off. Thanks again for the great stream, guys. Have a good weekend, everyone.
It's all right, Connor.
Okay,
Thanks for coming in and keeping us company, mate. Hopefully, me motor racing talk didn't bore the bejesus out of you, mate. But
ow.
Something like so.
Teak says, Max might go to Aston, slight chance to Merck, but I see him to move to the championship before all that, WC or something.
Yeah.
DJ says, because Max now has a child, there's a possibility that he might just retire.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah, he's in dad mode, isn't he? Yeah.
Oh. I dropped my little man.
Well, he's done everything he can. He's a multi-millionaire. He's made his money. He's had fun.
Don't have to worry about money. He's content now.
Can't say as I'd blame him. Something like that. Then there's a bit of that going on.
A little bit of that
Some
going on.
Support beams going that way. Like so. Bolting up over there.
6 minutes to finish this. 8 minutes even.
Yeah, that's why I've stopped, because we'll be going off air at 2.
Yes.
That's that.
I think I can get this fellow done.
We'll have ladder hanging off his Harris, like so.
A Harris ladder. It's an essential piece of equipment.
Okay, that's decided then.
You make a decision.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're going to go for, something along them lines. Oh, that'll give me an idea when I next pick the instructions up as to what my plan was with this build.
That's the worst bit, isn't it, when you take a week away and you come back and you're like, well, I don't even know what I was in the middle of doing.
Well, yeah, this will end up getting boxed up now because it's at that point where I've only got a few eco ancillary components like headlights to put on and that. I'm at that stage with it now where it's in it's got its sub-assembly done.
Yeah.
I shall put all the small bits like wing mirrors. I'll build them all up, but put them in a bag of mountingness.
Mm-hmm.
All the little door handles I'll put on off air because they're too fiddly for me to do on air because I need my microscope.
Magic bag of future potential.
So that is ready to come off the bench now, I reckon. Cool. Right, I'm happy with that. Not a bad little kit, I must admit.
You've enjoyed building that.
That's something different, isn't it?
It's hard not to enjoy sort of vintage vehicles like that, sort of 40s to 60s, because they just have a certain look. Anything with big mudguards is always a winner.
Well, because I know it's not getting done as the box art. You know, it's not going to be a military vehicle. It's going to be, you know, a nomadic wanderers, on wheels type thing. You know, I can explore with it, play with it, and just enjoy it that way because, yeah, just makes it different, doesn't it?
It's like when I go downstairs and Mum's watching Heartbeat and there's always some character driving around in an old army truck that's painted bright red because it's the 1960s.
Exactly. But that's that one done now. I think we can safely put that to one side. Got a couple of spare wheels there. They'll go in. Take the old pegaroomies off. Don't need
just about to finish.
I will probably have the Tiger on the bench next week to get that done, ready to be packed away into its box of sub-assemblies. Then I can bring down the Jag Panther, get that done. My aim is then to have all the rifle tanks in a rifle box ready to prime and paint.
Yep.
I'll have all my trucks done. Then I can look at bringing the digger back over, getting that paint job done. I've got some 3D parts to make for those. I'm filming them too. What could I do? What have I got? I'll have a look through my stash. I'll have a look through my scale mates and see what I've got that floats me boat that I can knock together on a live. I've got some bikes and cars that I can do as sub-assemblies and stuff. So, yeah. But for now, we'll get me tanks done and get them out of the way. I'll try and rotate it, get a tank done, get the next one down. If it means doing a lot of it off air, I'll do that.
Cool.
I'm trying to think what's quick wins. Quite a lot of the cars, because I can put them in Ziploc bags, can't I, as sub-assemblies?
Yeah.
Get them all done.
Yeah, you come out through them quite quickly.
So we'll have a look. Jeff says, haven't seen the chaos tonight. No, it's Ivy May weekend, I do believe, this weekend, mate. So he's probably got plans to go somewhere with his daughter, mate. So, yeah.
I have finished 2 dudes.
Oh, mate, I'm so proud of you.
I've not put the little greebles on the butt of the horse, but that's like 4 little bits, so.
Yeah.
And I might have messed up his arm a little bit, but it works.
No. But no, happy days, mate. I'm all for that. I could, like I say, do the detail bits. Put the door handles on and all of that gubbins. Probably scratch up a body section that I want to build. I'll film that.
Yep, nice.
Yeah, and then that'll be ready to have its paint and everything applied at a later date. That's getting done off here. That's the base for the bluey car.
Oh, you said it.
For
Felt a great disturbance in the force.
some reason, I keep looking over at this Brabham fan car that's next to me. I'm looking at these pile of kits. My eye is getting drawn to the BT46B from the Swedish Grand Prix of '78. And it was the Gordon Murray fan car that was built that was banned immediately. So, some reason it's looking at me provocatively.
Calling to you. It's calling to you.
PJ's now licking his lips and salivating, no doubt. But I'm sure I could be wrong. He says trying to get his pot of paint
Spotted a
out.
massive nub that I haven't taken off that dude. I can't remove it yet until he's glued together properly.
I have as well. Look at that. Yeah, Brabham Alpha Red. Yeah.
Ooh.
So I know, yeah. So,
Inspired by your Formula One talk tonight.
yeah. Are you salivating, PJ, or do you want me to sit and do the bluey car on here? Your choice.
Have you given PJ the fizz again?
Yeah. But it seems to be looking at me rather provocatively. With its off the shoulder sleeve, like going, you know you want me, Festa.
You need to put it behind a tiny bead curtain to make it more alluring.
PJ's got an eye twitch, and TK says, Louis.
Bluey?
I know where Fox has gone, because if I'm getting mine out, he's got to show his. So there you go.
We've got to both talk to PJ at the same time.
There you go. That Teeks is the bluey car.
Yeah.
Go on, show yours.
I've done mine. There you go.
That's all right, mate. Carry on.
No, I'm just showing mine at the same time.
I know you are. I'm trying to get you to show it off, mate.
I know. There you go. Mine still needs a lot of painting doing to it. It's not even remotely finished yet.
And there you go. So yeah. So that is the bluey car.
So many orcs in that. That's great. I love that.
So yeah, and he's waving.
You've got a friendly gesture.
PJ says, Brabham, yes, please. There you go. I've got the box next to me. I'm sure that's the fan car. I'm sure. Let's have a look. Because it's literally just there.
I can hear PJ fizzing from here.
Let's try and do this in such a way that I don't.
PJ says, I've gone blind. Why do you two hate me?
Try and do this without dropping the rest of the kits in that stack. Seems to have not collapsed on me, so progress. That one page. Let's just spin that round so you can see it, folks. That bad boy. Sure, that was the fan car. Yeah, it is. Look, closing the picture on the back there, car. Look, fan car. So there you go. So we'll have that ready, then we'll start that page. What do you reckon, mate?
What was the big fan on the back all about?
Do you know? I honestly can't remember. But there you go. Call myself a motor racing fan.
It's that kind of era when weird stuff happened, isn't it? Like the six-wheeler Tyrrell and things like that.
It's just a fan car. Probably a big cooling fan or some sorts.
Yeah.
Got no idea, mate. I'm sure I'll get pilloried now for not being able to answer your question immediately, but I'm not a big technophobe like that. Certainly looks sexy anyway. Quite a simple kit there, all of this detail.
PJ says, do it now.
Oh, devil's metal.
Suddenly Festa's like, actually, I don't want to do it.
Oh my God, it's got clear body shell. Oh
Right,
my
so you can see all the
God.
interior. Ooh,
Yeah.
nice.
Interesting.
Do it as a...
So yeah, there you go. So that's the Gordon Murray fan car. Yeah. I've gone blind. Why do you two make me? He says, do it and do it now. But yeah, there's a brief explanation there in Japanese of what the car was all about. But there you go. So I'm sure people are face palming, but hey ho, you know. But yeah, the Gordon Murray fan car.
Gordon Murray. The fan sucked air from under the chassis, pulling the car to the ground. Oh, so it gives it the Venturi.
Oh, of course, yeah, ground effect, yeah. Yeah, so it sucked the car to the ground. There you go, thank you.
TK says jet-powered car, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Engine, it?
It sucked the car like that, like a vacuum.
Yeah.
Bit like hovercraft. Hovercraft blows it up, this sucked it down. But yeah, there you go. We know now. I feel the shame. I feel everyone's talking about me now, but I don't care.
I wonder if that caused problems for anyone trying to get into its slipstream around the corner.
That's why it got banned, mate. Because everyone was complaining.
I just did a racing thing, didn't I? In my brain.
Yeah, you're more knowledgeable than I am now.
Nonsense.
Happy days. So, folks, there you go. We'll make a start on the fan car at some point. Was that a do it from next week, Cole moment? I'm sure it was.
Possibly.
But, yeah. So that's where we're going to leave it today for you, folks. Hopefully you've enjoyed our inane drivel. Sorry about my side rant going off into one about the F1, but hey, you know, there you go.
They seem to be quite happy with it.
PJ says, another wonderful F1 stream. Frolicking stream chats. Have a great weekend, everyone. Ciao for now. Take care, Paige, mate. Lovely for you to come in and keep us company. Thanks, everyone that took the time to come and join us, keep us company. Thanks for your generosity, folks, those that super chatted. Really does help keep this channel alive and the content coming. It pays for all of this at the end of the day. So a big thank you for taking the time to do that. It really does make things a lot easier. Don't forget, give the videos a watch, have a look through the channel. There's plenty for you to see there, and there'll be more content up and coming as time goes on. Until then, we'll see you next Friday. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye for now.
Adios, amigos.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to